Is Satan actually fail, and is he receiving worship as Allah inside the Kaaba right now as we speak?
The public schools can keep the children occupied throughout the day with sports after school and homework in the evening. The parents will have less than an hour a day with their children, and the families and Christian churches' influence over them could be broken in about a generation.
We are always there, always listening, always watching, always capturing data, and of course, always looking out for your safety. Funny word, safety. It's our favorite word indeed.
Welcome back. My name is Renee, and this is Highly Motivated. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. Let's dive right into the creepiest and most interesting TikToks that I could find. Would you go down these stairs?
Would you go down these stairs at the top of a mountain? Watch. I am too. What room? There's a dog up there. What room does that dog have?
That is straight vertical.
No. No. Oh, no. I'm good. So yeah, where's this dog going?
I know.
Who brought him up there? Did the dog just wander up there? Where's the dog getting food? Listen, out of this entire walk, that's what I'm most concerned about. And then when he finally gets down to where he stops and pans out, he's still, like 1,000 feet up? Yeah, because look, it just keeps going down the mountain. But would you take these stairs? Would you go down?
Only if my life absolutely depended on it.
We're about to go into a dark winter.
The Simpsons predicting a dark winter for 2023. Just watch this.
This air conditioning is better than any truant officer. I'm seeing students I haven't seen in years.
Hey, Mrs. K.
Oh, Arthur.
We're wasting more energy than Ricky Martin's girlfriend. Hey, you! Gentlemen, our city's sucking down the juice like my wife at an open bar. Mr. Burns, can your plant handle it?
No problem. We've siphoned off extra power from the orphanage. Who are they going to complain to? Their parents?
But, sir, we're at full capacity. One more appliance could overload the system.
We're about to go into a dark winter.
Honestly, that to me sounds more like what already happened down south in Texas. Like, it was hot and those were air conditioners. I don't know where they got dark winter, but people see what they want to see, right? The history of education.
Never learned about the history of education. I started questioning what I was doing as a teacher by reading the book Dumbing Us Down by John Taylor Gatto. I love that book so much that I decided to read other books by him, and one of the books that he wrote is An Underground History of American Education. I read through that whole book and became absolutely convinced that if people knew the history of American education, we would not be doing what we're doing. Here are some quotes from people who helped to set up our American education system. What is the purpose of industrial education? To fill the young of the species with knowledge and awaken their intelligence? Nothing could be further from the truth. The aim is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same safe level, to breed and train a standardized citizenry, to put down dissent and originality. That is its aim in the United States, and that is its aim everywhere else. H.L. Mencken. If the public schools can keep the children occupied throughout the day with sports after school and homework in the evening, the parents will have less than an hour a day with their children, and the families and Christian churches' influence over them could be broken in about a generation. John Dewey. We who are engaged in the sacred cause of education are entitled to look upon all parents as having given hostages to our cause. Horace Mann.
Ooh.
Education should aim at destroying free will, so that after pupils are thus schooled, they will be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. Johann never learned.
That explains why they were so, they went so hard on medicating those of us that they considered ADD or ADHD, because we wouldn't sit still in our little seat and be programmed the way that they wanted us to. That's crazy. How many of you guys, the highly motivated family, were labeled ADD or ADHD or ODD or some combination of those letters that basically said that you were kind of an incorrigible child? Let me know in the comments. I have been convinced that it only meant that we were harder to program. So this is from a news channel. Fox, okay, Fox News. Look really closely at what's going on, and I want to know what you think about this footage. Let me just play it one more time. Live. See the way he just shot that? I don't know. The American Clown Show. Sheep.
Hi, it's me again, folks. Did you miss me? I didn't miss you, because I was never more than a step or two away this whole time. See, dear friends, we are always there, always listening, always watching, always capturing data, and of course, always looking out for your safety. Funny word, safety. It's our favorite word indeed. We use it on most occasions to round up the sheep in strict obedience to the most unconstitutional of things. That which the founding fathers did, the word safety easily undoes. I'm surprised, dear ones, that you haven't figured this out yet. Please allow me to tell you a little secret. Here is how we do it. Your elected representatives really represent us. The American Clown Show is an enormous production, and our clowns are everywhere and nowhere. The job of these clowns is to herd you to their position, which means our position. And that means your position is nothing more than campaign bait for the Kool-Aid drinkers who believe they're actually voting in a real election. How naive, and so many of them. Your politicians pass legislation they don't even read that was written by private entities to align the corporation of the United States of America with our interests, not yours.
Never.
And that doesn't work. Our top clown. You call him the president. He just passes an executive order to altogether bypass the inconvenience of a constitutionally framed government and the rule of law. Bypassing independence, freedom, and democracy is no issue. See, we took those long ago. We have already baked the cake, and now it's time for the icing. How about a nice Marxist communist red icing? Many of these bills and orders contain extra constitutional authority triggered by so-called emergencies. These emergencies are then constructed, fabricated, and executed out of thin air by teams of clowns, or allowed to just happen if foreign and domestic hostiles are keen to do our bidding. These fraudulent emergencies trigger the same extra-constitutional powers these clowns passed for themselves.
Problem, reaction,
really,
solution.
Passed for us. See, dear ones, that's why we placed them there. Once the emergency takes root and the tentacles of tyranny ensnare the sheep. They are duped and hoodwinked into marching to their own technocratic enslavement. Speaking of roots, these roots go far deeper than 1963 and the elimination of a problematic executive. That, the 11th of September, the recent pandemic, a capital insurrection, and many, many more. Oh, how I could go on. We really are good at what we do best. I just couldn't sleep at night if I didn't know that all of you were not safe. I'll leave you with a little tidbit to enhance your safety. There's another selection coming, and that means another pandemic. In fact, we've already begun those operations. For your voting entertainment, our production crew has decided to reset the cast for the 2024 selection. We're getting rid of both Biden and Trump, and so now you'll have a brand new illusion to preoccupy you as the American Clown Show carries on. It'll be a new flavor of Kool-Aid, not like the old flavor of Orange Man Bad. Perhaps a nice purple elixir because purple is the hue of color revolutions, no? So keep your head on a swivel and do it in the name of safety. And oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget about that pesky Third World War looming on the horizon. We've been working on that production for some time too. You stay safe out there.
Cirque du Slave. Very interesting parody, don't you guys think?
A supernatural event is about to occur in the near future. When this supernatural event happens, millions of people will suddenly and without warning vanish. First the dead, then the living. This event is known as the Rapture, where Jesus will descend from heaven and enter the sky and take the body of Christ up to heaven to be with him forever. This event will end the dispensation of grace and will start the 70th week of Daniel. You do not want to be here during that time because it will be the worst time unlike any other time in history. Luckily for us, it is not that hard to avoid being here for Daniel's 70th week. The only thing that a person has to do is believe that how Jesus Christ died on the cross for their sins, and that he was buried, and that he rose again on the third day. If a person trusts that, then that person would be placed in the body of Christ. And when the rapture happens, that person would be caught up to meet him in the air and taken to heaven to be with him too.
Amen. The body of Christ. It's like I make plans for the future, but in my heart, I don't think that we're going to be here that much longer. So it's like, yeah, my plans are great, but I'd way much rather just go with Jesus than see any of the plans I have come to fruition, right? So if I'm here, cool. If I'm not, even better. Now, I found this on TikTok, but the original film credit does go to Colin Noir on YouTube. And this is regarding the firearm confiscations that took place during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. And I believe that this can be a precautionary tale to us, because our future is a little uncertain. We don't really know exactly what could happen or if things could hit American soil. But we do know that the emergency situation is abused. Much more power than anyone wants their government to have is given to them in an emergency situation. So we really need to look to what they have done in the past to glean an idea of what they're going to try in the future.
You said guns will be taken? Yeah, no one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons. That happened today in this wealthy neighborhood where homeowners had armed themselves to protect their mansions. Residents were handcuffed on the ground. In the end, police took their weapons but let them stay in their homes.
They were a little bit threatened because our weapons were bigger than their weapons.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
This has been documented, so much so that the NRA and other gun lobby groups actually had to go out and file a claim against the city in order for them to return the guns that they took from people during this situation. And then the funny thing is, I had people who actually made comments in the comment section when I posted this tweet about it, and they were saying something to the effect of, oh, well, great way to take things out of context. And I'm guessing they're insinuating because it was after a major hurricane and it was flooding and it was a disaster zone, that somehow that makes it better to take people's firearms.
Right.
They had AR-15s or M16s. They were pointing at us.
They told us, put your hands up in the air. Let us see your hands.
They're drawing down on me, and they let the looters run rampant for over a week? Are you kidding me?
I really thought they were going to kill me. I really did.
They didn't care what your rights were. They were going to deny them.
That's scary.
And you're coming to honest, good citizens and taking away their protection, and it is wrong. Wrong. Wrong.
But still, the order have been given for police and National Guard to go house to house, often with guns drawn, to evacuate residents and confiscate their firearms.
If people decided to stay and protect their homes with their firearms, to me, that makes the most sense in the world for them to keep their firearms to protect themselves. That's the very reason why they have them. So I will never understand, and no one could probably ever justify to me why police officers would go door to door and take firearms away from people who would utilize them to protect themselves.
Police that look like linebackers pushing you in a corner, you're in shock. I'd say, look at all my food. I got plenty of food. They kept pushing me back.
This little old lady.
And ended up like this.
Then, Patty showed them a small revolver she was carefully holding in the palm of her hand. A camera crew was there to capture what unfolded next.
I said, it's not even loaded. And I dropped it on the floor.
Wow.
Well, they punched me in the face. Look at my black and blue.
Can you really tell me that that woman right there looked like she posed a threat to any of those men? Come on.
Marks, look at what they did.
Stupid.
And for the people out there who think that this can't happen, it happened in 2005. The proof is there. But yet today, we still have people who think it can't happen. So when you hear Joe Biden, when you hear Kamala, and all the rest of these people talk about the idea of a gun registration, that's why I'm against a registration. Because confiscation is a lot easier when there's a registration of all the firearms that everybody owns.
Well, that's the point, right?
Works. So please understand, this is not fear-mongering. But when it comes to getting what they want, when it comes to making sure that the agenda that they want to actually make happen, oh no, they're about as clever as they come. Which is the whole notion behind the idea that we're going to have a mandatory gun buyback. And then if you don't sell your guns back, then we'll come and we'll arrest you. That's the part that they don't say.
Do you believe
right.
mandatory buyback
the quiet part
assault weapons, and whether or not you do, how does that idea not go against fundamentally the Second Amendment?
Yeah. Great question. I do believe that we need to do buybacks, and I'll tell you why.
So to gun owners out there who say, well, a Biden administration means they're going to come for my guns.
Bingo. You're right if you have an assault weapon. The fact of the matter is they should be illegal, period.
So please, people, understand, this has actually happened before. People have had their guns confiscated in this country by a government going door to door to do it. I don't care about the circumstance. I don't care whatever context you say needs to be made or not made. At the end of the day, they went door to door and they took people's firearms. And these people weren't criminals.
As a New York State resident, I see a lot of different things on the news about Kathy Hochul and her stance on firearms. And if she had her way, nobody would have anything, period. I think that the ability to protect your life is a God-given right, and I don't believe that a government has the right to tell you in which manner you're allowed to defend your life in. That's a personal decision that I think should be made by the individual. As a woman, I believe it is the only equalizer between a larger male and me that would keep me safe.
Check this out. The common law is the real law, the supreme law of the land. The code, rules, regulations, policy, and statutes are not the law. Supreme Court case, Self vs. Ray. Legislated statutes enforced upon the people in the name of law are a fraud. They have no authority and are without mercy. Justice without mercy is godless and therefore repugnant to our United States Constitution. Lawmakers were given authority by the people to legislate codes, rules, regulations, and statutes, which are policies, procedures, and law, to control the behavior of bureaucrats, elected and appointed officials, municipalities, and agencies, but were never given authority to control the behavior of the people.
Wow. It sounds to me like it was never actually used for its true purpose and was completely subverted and turned around on us.
These pylons and many different things, and it was the aether that powered everything. And one day, the controllers of this world decided to take it away. They reset the population. It was in every country. Just keep watching these photos, and you'll see that everything was conductive. Everything had a way to tap into this energy, whether it be the obelisks, or the towers, or the cathedrals. Everything you look at, it interacted with the nature of the earth, the energy of the earth. And it was a beautiful to these pylons.
Electricity was and should still be free. Now watch this girl's reaction to looking at the first paycheck that she's ever received in her entire life.
Yeah. What are you so excited about?
I just got my first check from work.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
No more. Gotta wait till there's food at the house. I can buy my own food. I ain't gotta live under your house rules no more. I can do what
Okay.
I know that's right. And what is this? Say no.
Government done hit that check.
Why you with it? I can't put up with this. Why did they take out so many taxes? Where is? They gave me somebody else's because I've been working extra shifts and everything. Medicare. Medicare. Doesn't make sense. I put in all these hours, and this is what my check looks like.
You know, the more hours that you make, the more taxes they take out.
Then I'm not going to work at all.
No, because you said you was ready to move out. I'm finna be lit. I'm gonna get my own apartment. And what happened to all of that?
They're taking out two different types of taxes. Federal taxes, state taxes. I'm gonna have to have a nice word with Biden. Oh, mama.
This was the moment she realized that being an adult was bullshit. Now I looked and they only have a part 1 of this so far. When they make a part 2, I will make sure that I grab it.
The Bible describes
evil people being in high places like Puff Daddy. Evil don't exist down here. It exists up here. It lurks down here, but it exists up here. And where all of us down here trying to go? Up there with evil?
Right.
Almost everything up here is evil. Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, you can't get up here if you ain't evil, my niggas. It's a glass ceiling for those that's not evil. You can only go that high if you evil.
Strong words. Oof.
You can only go that high if you evil.
Hey.
Because that's...
And I think that also goes for the very, very high levels of religious leaders, the super mega churches, the prosperity preachers. That is not, in my opinion, coming from God.
Is Satan actually fail, and is he receiving worship as Allah inside the Kaaba right now as we speak? Let me tell you a story.
Truth about the Black Cube.
It's the 5th century AD, and the lonely sand-swept deserts of Arabia have not yet been introduced to the religion of Islam. That would come 100 years later. No, the Arab world was much different before the Prophet Muhammad was ever even first mentioned. Jews, Christians, polytheists, Zoroasters, multiple different religious groups existed at the same time as these polytheists. This is really important to understand. I want you guys to try and think deeply about this. Arabian polytheism, which was the dominant practice amidst all the others, had a history locked deep with an ancient city in the region we know today as Mecca. This foundational city, which is still revered today, it is the primary spiritual center of all the surrounding regions with their pagan worship practices. The cube, or the ancient house which is at the heart of the city, was actually used to house all of the local gods. 360 of them to be exact, and they would honor these gods by encircling the shrine in a lunar-like procession.
360 gods, 360 degrees.
This practice would later be taken by Islam, which is really quite interesting if you think about it.
Yeah.
Islam, meaning submission to God. But my question to you is, which God? Manaf, Manat, Dushar. These are but a few of the names of the various idol gods worshipped in the Black Cube, which would have been placed adorning the inside of the shrine and along the outer rim of the cube for their ritualistic purposes. Now each Lunar New Year, the various warring tribal groups would lay down their arms and make the lengthy pilgrimage to the shrine, where they would encircle it, offering sacrifices and penances to their favorite gods, which some scholars say represent the 365 days of the year. Encirclement, prostration, pilgrimage. I think you guys are starting to get the picture of what I'm trying to paint. But even with all this context, the mystery starts to get even deeper when you actually look into the history of the gods worshipped in the Black Cube. There really is only one singular deity that stands out in particular amidst all the rest, and his name is the ancient god Hubal. Hubal is a very interesting character indeed, because he is considered by most scholars to actually be the chief god of the Kaaba at the time. Some would even argue that the Kaaba was fully dedicated to Hubal himself. You can see more images of this god found right here with the same black stone that is venerated today in modern Mecca. But here's where it really starts to take a dark turn for the worst. Because when you actually look at the research, and believe me, I did, almost all scholars generally conclude that Hubal was an imported deity from the region of Syria or the land of the Nabateans. Is Satan actually veiled, and is he received?
Interesting. I had heard that the inside of the Kaaba had the deities, the statues of the deities, but I did not know that there were 360 of them. Let me know, were you aware of this fact? And if you have any other information to add, I would love to know. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video, and if you aren't subscribed, please consider. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again very soon. Until then, stay prayed up and stay highly motivated.